Hi and welcome. Today I have a new type of project for me. It's new for me. I've never done a collage in a book before, but I started out thinking I was just making maybe a layered tag or something like that, and I grabbed some of the pocket cards. If you've been watching me, you know I've fallen in love with these pocket cards. And so I'm grabbing a couple of them and I'm gluing them onto some cardstock just to add more weight. And of course, they're two-sided, and so I chose the sides I wanted and glued the other side to the cardstock. Once they're glued down, then I just took them over to my trimmer, and the back one's going to be the blue one and the front one is going to be the lighter colored one. So I trimmed accordingly, and the blue one ends up larger than the lighter colored one, as you can see here. And I'm going to add a little bit of distressing to the edges, and I'm using Vintage Photo. On the blue one, I start out with Vintage Photo, but I end up either now or later, I'm not sure exactly at what point I do it, but I go and move to Scorched Timber on the blue because the blue's pretty dark. And here it is, my Scorched Timber. And I only do it on the very edge. I didn't go in as far as I did with the Vintage Photo. And like I've done in the past, the scrapbook or the pocket cards have what looks like old tape marks on them in some places, and so I like to take my tape that I've aged and just kind of put it on top of those tape marks. And I do it to both pieces. And I chose a bunch of ephemera and then this frame. And this frame is just some cardstock that I've glued on some old book paper, and then I cut out a bunch of frames on my Cricut, and I do that all at once. I make a whole bunch of them so that I have a whole stash of them to choose from in different sizes. And I'll list the ephemera packs in the description because I'm not quite sure where everything is coming from. I know those are from the paper strips. I think the photo is from the Snippets ephemera pack, and like I said, I'm going to list them in the description, but I will try to guess which ephemera pack. But I have a bunch of ephemera packs, and sometimes some of the things are in more than one, so, but I'll do my best. And the 7 of Clubs, that is, as you would suspect, it's from a old playing card. The Here card is from the Flashcards, and I like to, anything there are the layers which are thicker and glossier, I tend to usually scuff them up and make them look a little less glossy. So, and sometimes I add on collage medium, which I didn't here, but I did scuff it up. So I'm gluing some of the paper strips onto the edge of the frame. It just so happened to be the same width, but it wouldn't have mattered if it was larger. I think larger would have been good as well. And I'm just adding this photo to the corner. And just moving things around to see where I want them to go. And I do end up shifting it to the right here, which I like a lot better. And so I'm beginning to find where I want things to go. This 3, I'm not sure what that is from. It could be from Memoir. It could be from the collage tiles, maybe. The number strip right there, that's from Number Strips. I end up not using the other pink one with the 3 on it. I don't use that. I'm going to start gluing down just to kind of get some of the things in place. I was trying to make that so you could see the flower, almost like I was framing the flower. And I'm going to add this butterfly, and I'm pretty sure that's from the Field Notes ephemera pack. I do end up using that. It doesn't go there, but I do use it. I do use a little piece of that butterfly paper strip. And this little circle, oh goodness, it's either from, I don't think that's from Field Notes, that's probably just from Snippets. It's just adding a little bit of something there. And I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. And here I'm using the Archival Ink potting soil, I believe that was. And I'm just gonna stamp that. And that stamp set is, I think, the Eccentric. And I think all the Reserved and the other one are also from the same Eccentric. So now I think I'm ready to glue on that butterfly. It's going to go up there in the corner. So I thought that what piece was done, and then I was today out looking at a estate sale, and I've been wanting to do a book journal where you glue it right to the book pages, and I never got around to finding a book, but this was a really well made book, cheap. I don't think it was anything worth anything. So I decided I was going to use it for my book journal. And so my plan is to do some pages, not every page. Obviously it'd be too thick. But I'm gluing down a Gelli print. And I wanted one that was kind of neutrals, not too dark. And it didn't have to be a great Gelli print that I would like tear portions off to use because I love it. So this was one I kept on to be, or kept when I wanted a piece to be a background that maybe would be not not showing completely or not the focal point. And this Gelli print was made with acrylic inks and stencils. And I just glued it and trimmed it onto one of the pages. eventually I'm going to do the outside of these pages, but I haven't decided what I want to do. I might try just sanding it down first and getting all the color off it and see what that does before I decide. So I'm just distressing the edges of my jelly print, and I do come back with scorched timber because I just felt like you couldn't see the vintage photo enough. So later I'll come back with some scorched timber. And I'm just deciding what I want to do. Do I want to just place this on here, or do I want to add some pieces to kind of go with it? And I decided I'm adding some. Not a whole lot, but I'm adding some. This is one of the smaller pocket cards. I think it's one of the small size. And it just had a real nice color to it, but I wanted to add some more interest. And so I decided I have this stamp. I'm not sure if it is, probably Amazon. I guess it's possible it's Rubber Dance, but I think it's just Amazon. And I'm going to glue it down because I wanted some of the stamping to go off the card. Now, I was afraid it might not work very well because of the two different layers, and it does okay here. When I do it at the top, I had some problems, but that's okay. I'm not looking for perfection. So that piece is down, and I'm going to add another piece of ephemera. It'll be that little clock face. I was thinking about adding that tape over top that card, but then I decided no. I do add some of it, but not right there. So this is also from Layers. I think it's the Dials. I think it's called Dials. And I didn't distress this one because it looked pretty distressed and it wasn't super glossy. And so I just kind of glued it down and then placed my card piece down. And I wish I would have realized that my book was pretty far up on the screen, because to me there was too much area on top that had nothing. So I'm going to try to add some stamp at the top of the card, and it didn't do great. So I do come back in with some marker and try to replicate the stamp. And it's okay. I mean, I do draw things every now and then, so it's not horrible. But I'm just winging it. And I will be adding this tape. It's a washi tape that's kind of got the paper on the back. You got to peel it off, and I sometimes have a trouble getting it to start. I do add a little bit of the Distress ink at the torn edge. And I just fold it over. I'll add another strip. And folded that over as well. And this little tiny piece I had left over, I'm just going to stick down there too. And the last thing I'm going to do is add a sentiment. It's from the Clippings sticker book. It's 2 stickers. One says little things, and the second one says that shine and sparkle. I'm giving them a little bit of vintage photo and gluing them on. Even though they're sticky, I still add some glue. And that is it. You'll have final pictures coming up. But I hope you enjoyed the process and my first piece in my book art journal. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. If you liked this piece, give me a thumbs up. But you guys have a great day.